The 21st century's defining geopolitical rivalry is no longer fought with tanks and missiles but through ports, algorithms, and tariffs. The United States and China are locked in a high-stakes battle for control over the arteries of global trade and the digital frontier. From the Panama Canal's strategic choke points to TikTok's 100 million American users, every move is a calculated play in a game of economic chess. This isn't just a trade war, it's a fight for supremacy in a multipolar world. In early 2024, BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, orchestrated a $19 billion deal to acquire 43 global ports from Hong Kong-based conglomerate Hutchison Whampoa. Among these are critical terminals along the Panama Canal, which handles 6% of global maritime trade and 75% of all traffic to and from the United States. This acquisition isn't just about infrastructure, it's about control. The Panama Canal, a 50-mile engineering marvel, connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, saving ships a 9,000-mile detour around South America. Over 14,000 vessels transit annually, carrying $270 billion in goods. For China, the canal is a lifeline. 30% of its U.S.-bound exports, including electronics, machinery, and textiles, rely on this route. By seizing these ports, the United States gains leverage to throttle Chinese trade, impose delays, fees, or outright bans on Chinese ships, monetize geopolitics, charge premium tolls funneling billions into U.S. coffers, rewire supply chains, redirect traffic to U.S.-aligned nations, isolating China. Hutchison, a subsidiary of CK Hutchison Holdings, has managed Panama's ports since 2016. Its billionaire chairman Li Ka-shing, once dubbed Superman for his business acumen, now faces Beijing's wrath. China retaliated by freezing Hutchison's deals in mainland ports and blacklisting Li's affiliates. While Hutchison's $36 billion empire won't collapse overnight, the message is clear. Cross Beijing, lose access to the world's second-largest economy. Control over maritime choke points has shaped empires since the Suez Canal's 1869 opening. Today, the U.S. Navy patrols straits like Hormuz, which handles 20% of global oil shipments, and Malacca, which sees 25% of traded goods. But Panama is unique. It's a privatized choke point. By owning its ports, the U.S. can weaponize trade without deploying a single destroyer. Imagine a game where the U.S. owns Boardwalk and Park Place. Every Chinese ship passing through Panama could face congestion fees of $1 million per vessel, generating $14 billion annually. Environmental penalties targeting China's older coal-powered ships. Data harvesting to monitor cargo manifests and anticipate Chinese moves. Trump's 2024 rally cry, "Make the world pay down our debt," hints at this strategy. With U.S. national debt at $34 trillion, squeezing rivals at choke points could offset fiscal woes. China's $1 trillion Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, built ports from Sri Lanka to Greece, but the Panama setback exposes its vulnerability. BRI projects often trap nations in debt, like Sri Lanka's Hambantota port, now leased to China for 99 years. The U.S. is replicating this playbook with better financial firepower. While the U.S. tightens its grip on Panama, China is bribing its way into relevance. Cambodia, a $40 million aid package to replace canceled U.S. funds. BRICS expansion, adding Egypt, Ethiopia, and Iran to counter G7 influence. Digital yuan piloted in 28 nations to bypass the dollar in trade. Yet these efforts lack the immediacy of port control. As one Beijing insider noted, "You can't eat soft power." In April 2024, Trump demanded ByteDance sell TikTok's U.S. operations within 90 days, or face a ban. But there's a twist. The U.S. wants the algorithm, the AI engine curating 1 billion users' feeds. China's retort, no. Data goldmine, 100 million U.S. users' browsing habits, locations, and preferences. Cultural influence, TikTok shapes music, fashion, and politics. For example, the 2020 TikTok teens Trump rally sabotage, military applications. The same AI could model crowd movements or optimize drone strikes. Beijing's 2020 export rules classify recommendation algorithms as protected technology, making a sale legally impossible. Even if TikTok's U.S. arm is sold, its brain remains in Beijing. Washington assumes China needs TikTok to access U.S. consumers. But with U.S. trade now just 2% of China's GDP, compared to 34% in 2006, the stakes are asymmetric. As economist Michael Pettis notes, China can afford to lose TikTok, America can't afford to lose face. After the Ukraine invasion, the West froze $300 billion in Russian central bank assets. China, holding $3.1 trillion in reserves, is scrambling to diversify its holdings. This includes buying 225 tons of gold in 2023 and euros. Additionally, China is turning to shadow banking, using banks in Kazakhstan and the UAE to bypass SWIFT. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, now rivals the G7 in GDP measured by purchasing power parity. Its 2024 agenda includes the introduction of a BRICS currency, a digital token to settle trade, which aims to weaken the dollar's dominance. Furthermore, the new development bank plans to lend $35 billion to projects in the Global South, undercutting the IMF. China builds 33% of global ships, but U.S. port taxes could render them unprofitable. If the U.S. imposes a 25% maritime security fee, carriers might pivot to South Korean or Japanese ships, but at double the cost. Trump's proposed tariffs on Chinese goods would replicate 2018's trade war, but on steroids. The Peterson Institute estimates U.S. inflation could go up by 1.5%, costing households about $2,400 annually. Meanwhile, China's growth would remain steady at 5%, fueled by demand from ASEAN and BRICS. Trump's plan to slash foreign aid by 20% would cede ground to China. When the U.S. cut Cambodia's aid, China stepped in and offered $40 million. Every dollar withdrawn is a dollar China invests in loyalty. Surrendering TikTok would embolden U.S. hawks to target Shein, the fast fashion giant accused of forced labor links. Then there's Temu, a $16 billion e-commerce platform under data scrutiny. And let's not forget Alibaba, whose cloud division is deemed a national security risk. By refusing to sell TikTok, Beijing signals that the era of Western exploitation is over. As state media warns, the Opium Wars ended 180 years ago. The US-China clash isn't about tariffs or TikTok, it's about who writes the rules of the 21st century. As the Panama ports shift hands and algorithms become battlegrounds, one truth emerges. Economic warfare is the new normal. Vote? Will the US seize TikTok? Is China winning the trade war? If you see this as economic warfare, subscribe for unfiltered analysis on the new Cold War. Stay sharp, stay woke. This isn't just politics, it's survival. If you made it this far, you're a legend. But here's the problem. YouTube's burying videos like this, so do two things right now. 1. Smash like. This tells YouTube not to censor us. 2. Subscribe, because next week we're exposing how BRICS is about to dump the dollar, and you need to see it.